for sharing all these highlights with us. I'll just get going. Give me a sec.
Mr. Dora, that was absolutely impressive while Mr. Nalin sorts this thing out. I mean, what a fantastic session that was. Campaign centric to customer centric. What a line, what a thought, and what a revolution. I mean, absolutely fantastic, Mr. Dora. You've been such a delight to have. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so very much for that amazing session. And to our lovely audience members from Oculus VR headset, Marshall speakers, and smartwatches, you stand a chance to win it all. All you have to do is answer the quiz questions at the end of today's session. So if you want to win, which Mr. Nalin, correct me if I'm wrong, which of course they will have, right? They, of course, I think even Mr. Nalin and I were absolutely envious of our audience members because we can't participate in the quiz. So if you want to win, which we're sure that you do, stay with us till the very end. And before we quickly move on to our next session, Mr. Nalin, please, we want to talk to our amazing audience members. We've got a few of our comments rolling. So we'll take a little bit of time. We've got Elsbeta who writes in Czech Republic. She's from Czech Republic. Mehek, Sandeep, Sara, Sushil. They're from India. Piero is from Germany. Vishnath, Ashwin, Ushpita, Nidhi, Anand. I mean, just international event in its truest sense. All right. So let's quickly move on to our next segment now. Rockstars, when I was reading our next speaker's bio, which you can see on the screen, Mr. Goel it is. I was super impressed to read a beautiful para his well-wishers dedicated to him. He referred to our leader as a smart, hardworking, and possessing natural inclination for being a single point of contact for queries and questions. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine being someone whose natural inclination is to be the single point of contact, that too for questions, something that many run away from, including me. Let's give it up for Mr. Nalin Goel, SVP Product, MoEngage. Mr. Goel, over to you. Thank you so very much.
Thanks a lot, Nikita, for putting me on that spotlight. But thanks everyone for joining us today. Hope you're doing great and keeping safe. And thanks for your continued trust in MoEngage as your customer engagement platform. I think Ravi has taken away some limelight, which I wanted to cover, but I think this is something that we have created for you. Haven't we all wished during some point of time that we have that superpower with which we can understand what is going on in someone else's mind, right? And at least I have wished for that. And I think that's where we build that superpower for you. And that superpower is called predictions. Predictions help marketers and product managers to understand that what are the actions, or if a certain customer is going to do an action that they expect them to do or not, or any action of their interest. With predictions, marketers and product managers can go and ask our dear Oracle whether a certain user is going to convert, or whether a certain user is going to be dormant, or is going to uninstall your app, for which you spend a lot of customer acquisition cost. That's not all. On top of that, you can build your own prediction. You can build your custom predictions basis which you can ask that what is the action in which you are interested in, and whether what is the propensity or the likelihood of your customer doing this action. With this, e-commerce company can understand that how many users are going to buy a product from a certain category, or even that specific product. Maybe let's say there is a sale on iPhone on your e-commerce store, and you want to know, hey, what all users would be interested in this iPhone. You can create a custom prediction and ask prediction to help you understand who are the users who have high propensity or a medium propensity to do that action. You can also save in time in terms of you can always go about and understand who are going to be the people who are at risk of churning. You can also understand from the engagement point of view that who are these users who are going to respond to your messages, or who are going to shop from your top selling categories. I would say that don't believe what I'm saying. Let's see this in action. So on MoEngage dashboard, if you come, you will be able to see this sidebar menu. On that, you will have an option which says predict. And on that, you can come and create a prediction. You can also do this quickly by creating a prediction from here. Once you do that, you can just give a quick name to your prediction and choose what kind of prediction you want to create. As I mentioned, there are 3 out of the box creations that we have given you, which is you can predict the dormancy, which is the propensity of user to become dormant. The second is predict uninstall, which is the propensity of user to uninstall your app. And the third is predict conversion, which is the propensity of user to convert, which is, hey, if your goal is say purchase on your app, or if you're a travel app and you have a booking as a final conversion, then you can always understand that who are these users who are going to convert. And on top of that, you can always go and define your custom prediction and see which is the prediction that you would want to do. So let's say I choose here predict dormancy, and I would say, hey, what would be the definition of a predict dormant user? Different companies define dormancy differently. Some people might define it as that all the people who have not visited my app or web in the last 7 days are considered dormant, while some of us might define it as people who have not say made a purchase in the last 7 days. And all this liberty is provided to you on the platform. You can come define your own custom dormancy definition, and basis that there will be a look back period in terms of how we are going to look at the customer data for what duration. So we are going to look and learn from the last 60 days of data of your customers. And then on top of that, this prediction is not just one time. It's not one time learning. It will continuously keep on refreshing itself every 7 days. You can define which day you want it to refresh so that you can plan your campaigns accordingly. Like if you want it to be refreshed on Sunday, from Monday onwards, you can kind of for the whole week, you can run the campaigns on that prediction. And once that is done, and once you are set to publish this prediction, you click on create prediction and you are good to go. You can always, MoEngage automatically creates the segments as well as user property for your dormancy or for any prediction that you're creating into the user profile as well as segmentation, so that you can easily go and target your customers or analyze your customers. Once you do a prediction, once you publish a prediction, you will come to a page called all predictions, on which you can see all the predictions which are listed, how many of them are active, what are the user distribution across each of these predictions, and most importantly, what is the prediction quality? Is this prediction good enough to be used? Once you do that, you can come to a prediction directly. And once you come to this prediction, which has generated the results for you now, you can look at that how many of the users that you have kind of tried to run this model for, how many of them are having a high propensity to go dormant, or how many of them are having a medium propensity to go dormant, or how many of them are having a low propensity to go dormant. And accordingly, you can act on our recommendation, or you can just clearly go about and create a campaign in a single step. And that's what we call actionable insights inside MoEngage, that every time you have an insight, you should have a way to act on it really fast. It also gives you overview of the prediction quality here, as I mentioned. On top of that, you can also see that what are the users and how are they distributed across the different deciles. That is like, hey, who are having between 40 to 50% propensity versus who are having 90 to 100%. You can also see a quick overview here. Adding to that, adding to more intelligence here, what we have also done is we have shown you a correlation parameter here, which largely says that you can understand the model that we have run, which is that what are the factors which are actually resulting in impacting this prediction. So as an example, if you see there are like device uninstall or any product viewed, if people have not viewed the product, say in the month one, probably it is resulting or it is saying that, hey, maybe they are closer to dormancy. So these are the ones who are having a negative correlation, and these are the ones who are having a positive correlation. Quickly moving on, once, as I mentioned, that once a prediction is created, the results are also available inside your user profile, where you can go and see predictive insights. It will tell you that how many whether this user is having what kind of propensity likelihood, which is propensity to dormancy is high or low and whatnot. So I think this is how we have created predictions for you. This is one of the most powerful things that we have ever built, and we would love your feedback on this. We would love to know how creatively you use these predictions to drive your business goals. And I know that we as growth marketers are one of the most optimistic lot of people, but then we are also a bit cynical. We want to see it ourselves, or we want to hear it from the practitioner. And that's where I think we have a practitioner for you who can share his experience about how they are using prediction and what is the outcome that they have been able to achieve out of it. Welcoming Shubhadeep. Shubhadeep, over to you. You can let me know how and when you want me to change the slides.
Great. Hi, Nalin, and thanks everyone for having me here for the session. Uh, just a quick intro about myself. I'm currently the growth manager at Find and Unicate. To talk about Find, Find is a online fashion marketplace delivering latest top Indian brands, directly fashion brands to your house. And Unicate is basically our B2B online marketplace for retailers to basically order in bulk apparel, footwear to better service their customer demand. Next, please.
Sure.
Yeah. So like that's our app. And basically the marketing challenge that lay in front of us was to make marketing more proactive and intelligent. So we have been acting on our past customer data that we have stored, and based on those, we created campaigns. So all those campaigns were basically based on past customer data. What we wanted to do was predict the customer actions before they happen. For example, before a customer uninstalled the app, we wanted to prevent that and design campaigns so that they stayed with us. Next, please. So as part of this approach of creating campaigns around past customer data, though it was very much time consuming, as we had to come up with various customer cohorts and basically test it out if we can actually get the best out of that, and if we could convert those users. And it required a lot of manual effort because we had to creatively come up with the customer cohorts every day, looking at the data. And as your customer data size increases and the matrices also increase, it becomes a low efficient approach, and it's not actually scalable because even like smaller brands can't afford to have a data science team to leverage on such huge volumes of data. So this approach needed to be scalable and as well as more accurate. So that's when the MoEngage team came to us with this solution of predictive audience. And that was sort of an answer to our call. And to explain briefly about it, it's basically helps you predict the user action before they happen based on the last 60 days of data. By default, there are three audiences that are already created in the system: propensity to dormancy, uninstall, and convert. So as the definition, like as the name suggests, propensity to dormancy means users who are likely to become inactive on the app or your site. Propensity to uninstall are users who are likely to uninstall your app. And convert is users who are likely to perform the action which is most valuable to your business. And all these three audiences are again divided in three varying intensity of low, medium, and high. So next, please. So using those varying intensity of low, medium, high, we actually tried to design campaigns so that we could approach each of the customer cohorts with their specific campaigns. So for example, for the propensity to dormancy, we try to design campaigns for the low and the medium likely dormant users. We send them out the product recommendations and our best offers of the day, so that before they tend to become dormant on the app, we prevent that and we help them experience the business essence, our brand services. And again, for the uninstall, many times user drop off before they have even experienced the app, and that happens for an e-commerce app like us. Many times the customer might not find the brand that they're looking for in the first go, and they just kind of uninstall the app. So this sort of gives us a second chance at approaching them again with this kind of campaigns. And for the conversion campaign, again, we send the like the best offers to the highly and the medium likely users. And that also helps us to save our marketing spends by not concentrating on the low likely users to convert. And that is especially useful for channels like SMS or email, where you spend on each of the SMS sent. So as a result of the few initial campaigns that we designed, we saw a 33% increase in the conversion rate in the first 24 hours and 10% increase in the CTR. So this is basis the audience that we purely used by predictive audience as compared to the audience types where we didn't use. And that sort of helped us attribute this increase to these audiences. So there were few takeaways that we could learn from these few initial campaigns. Obviously, we would like to test out even more. The first thing is that we can actually use this predictive audience to optimize our marketing cost and define our ROAS better. Because this is particularly useful for the paid CRM channels where we want to concentrate only on the most relevant users. And this audience actually helps us do that. Second thing is quite an indirect benefit of this approach is where we look at the where we look inside the audience type analysis. As Nalin just showed that there are various weightages placed on each of the data points. We could actually create flows and design campaigns around that to better leverage that. For example, for the propensity to convert audience, if it shows that highest weightage is placed on users who added to cart in last 7 days, we can actually design campaigns to make users add to cart in last 7 days so that their chances increase of conversion. And the third benefit is actually reducing the churn rate by actually preventing the user before they uninstall the app, make them experience the app, and you are not focusing on the lesser relevant audiences.
Awesome. I think Shubhadeep, that was really great. I think you guys have used the predictions and have conducted the control experiments to see even that what is the uplift specifically from predictive audience versus a general targeting that you do without predictive audience. I think that's a great way for growth marketers to kind of even learn whether something is working out for them or not. So thanks a lot for joining us and sharing your experience with us.
Thanks, Nalin. It's my pleasure to attend this session and have a great day.
You do have a great day, Shubhadeep. I think we have certain questions around predictions that I would take up before I go to the further parts. Just give me a sec.
Nalin, I think we have been taking this offline, so.
Got it. Sure, I think in that case, I'll move a bit forward and probably towards the end, we will take up all the questions. Sunena, does this sound fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So introducing another new cool feature for you.
Stacy is what you'd call a digital native. Her favorite shopping app, Every Store, never disappoints. It seems to know her all too well. The recommendations are not only spot on, they save her a ton of time having to look through the entire catalog. This morning, though, it seems a little off. She's been getting notifications for superhero merchandise, especially Spider-Man. Now, she's not much of a superhero person. You know who is? Last weekend, Stacy was visiting her sister. She searched for Spider-Man merchandise for her nephew and ended up buying him a backpack from, you guessed it, Every Store. Now she gets a blend of fashion, essentials, and superhero recommendations. And her app experience is ruined forever. Sound familiar? If you've been segmenting your users based on overall purchase history, it's time to take things to the next level. Stacy has a new favorite app, IntelliStore. Its recommendations are as relevant as pre-Spider-Man Every Store, but now she can buy the occasional gift without throwing it out of whack. Another great thing about it is that the messages are timely. She gets them precisely when she's looking to buy. IntelliStore uses MoEngage Sherpa, which comes with affinity-based segmentation. Rather than just looking at crude purchase history, it understands the brands and categories that Stacy prefers most of the time. Sherpa even knows when Stacy likes to shop for different things and sends her relevant promotions at the right time. IntelliStore also relies on Sherpa to make sure messages reach Stacy on her preferred channel, the one where she's most likely to see it and engage. Things are simple again. Stacy loves this personalized experience and newfound convenience, thanks to IntelliStore and MoEngage Sherpa.
So I think you would have understood from the video a lot more things and the context about the use case, which is how can we make the targeting more richer? How can we make the targeting specific and relevant for the customer to whom we are engaging with? Another cool addition that we have done is affinity-based segmentation. Affinity segments allow marketers and product owners to understand the dominant behavioral trait of their users. If you are a brand, if you are an e-commerce store and you want to understand that what is the most preferred brand or what are the users who prefer a certain brand, as soon as you are having the brand sale, you can understand that from affinity segments. You can also understand that what are the most preferred categories for certain users, which is you can always go about and ask that, hey, who are the users who predominantly make a purchase from, say, a category called as shoes or maybe home and kitchen and other categories. You can also understand the user's time preference, that what is the time or what is the hour bucket or day of the week or when they want to engage with your app, when they want to interact with your product and make a purchase or consume the content. You can also understand the usage preference of these users, which is that what time of the month do they engage with your app and how they engage with your app. With this, let's say you are a entertainment app and you are having the new playlist coming from, say, Beyonce, and then you can always go about and understand that who are the users who have predominantly played from Beyonce, so that you know that this is the target segment which you can use to send out that playlist. You can also kind of add more and more attributes to understand that what is the preferred platform or what are the other criteria that you want to add. On top of this, you can also understand the propensity or the affinity by saying that, hey, these are the people, give me the people or give me the users who have done a certain action for a minimum of or at least X% of time. And then probably during the time or the day of the week, which is Monday. So if you are sending out a communication on Monday and you want to see, hey, who are my users who interact with my app on Monday or on Tuesday or during that hour bucket of 8 to 10 a.m., it's all can be done with just affinity segments. Another cool feature that we have added is the most preferred channel. Many times we as marketers or as product managers, we wonder that should we continue to maximize our business goal by spray and pray approach, which is send out the same message across all the channels where the customer is reachable and then try to maximize the interaction from there. But then some of us are very, very customer centric. And we have this question that should I not be able to interact with my customer only on the preferred channel? Thereby, I'm creating a win-win for my business as well as my customer without having any trade-off, right? And that's where we heard you and we have introduced most preferred channel. With most preferred channel, MoEngage intelligence calculates that what is the most preferred channel for each and every user who is interacting with your app or website, and basis that it allows you to send out a communication only on the preferred channel to that user. But when we talk about channel, I think the next question that comes into mind is that what is the right time to engage with the user? Let's say Ravi is engaging with the app of yours at 7 p.m. during his probably leisure hours, while probably Nalin interacts with your app, which is an entertainment app, at 2 p.m. because maybe that's after his lunch hours. And each and every user might have different life context or different day schedules, and hence they might have a preferred time to use your app. And that's where best time to send comes into picture. and happy to introduce it to all of you, that we calculate the best time to send for any message across, specifically for push, email, and SMS, where you can specifically say, hey, what is the best time to interact with Nalin on email, or what is the best time to interact with Ravi on SMS, and combining these two is more like a superpower in your hands, where you can kind of improve the experience for your end users. In the end, it's a win-win for the brands as well as for the users, thereby not keeping the money on the table, as well as kind of doubling down on the experience that a customers expect from your app or website. And I think the proof lies in the pudding. I would invite Ganesh to kind of talk about how Big Bazaar is using some of these capabilities to kind of drive a better engagement strategy. Ganesh, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nalin. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ganesh Kamble. I handle customer engagement on e-commerce for Big Bazaar, which is part of Future Group. Next slide.
Sure.
Yeah. So talking about Big Bazaar is the India's first organized retail chain, founded by Mr. Kishore Biani. It sells about food staples, fashion, and kitchen items, and it's present across India on most of the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities, serving more than 20 million customers. Next slide. Yeah. So, like when it comes to e-commerce, the idea of Big Bazaar e-commerce was to to reach out to customers via the best strategic way, wherein we have divided our strategy into hero, hub, and hygiene. So on the left hand side, what you see is the hero strategy, which is the hero offer that helps us marketing on Facebook, Instagram, and all digital avenues. And then this yeah this hero campaign helps us to drive a lot of business, which is acquisition of new customers, and the hub campaign helps us to get the repeat orders from our existing customers, and the hygiene help us to get cross sell and upsell of the products. Yeah, that is how so this hero hub and hygiene, I have we have marketed, and we got our targets met. But what happened is we saw that there are orders that went down after 9 p.m. and did not pick up before 9 a.m. So 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is the slot that we saw that there was massive drop in the terms of number of orders, because we like the hero hub and hygiene happened during most of the time during the day via push channels, and whatever we had was organic traffic at that time, which did not result into much larger effect on sales. And we also saw that no online player was leveraging this prime time of between 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Can you go to next slide? Yeah. So but our challenge was that like you have hero, hub, and hygiene. Those are three best strategies, and you are reaching out to each and everyone possible on your push channels. Like specifically talking about push marketing by MoEngage, you are reaching out to everyone. Now who is left during this night time? Who will you reach? If you reach more customers, then they will uninstall your app. If you reach them more frequently, if you're reaching out to someone who is your platinum customers, they might stop you. They will put your number on DND, do not disturb mode, or they might uninstall your app. So, and also also to find out that micro segment, we need to have the app site open data. We need to have the order confirmation, which was done during the night time. So having that data, getting that data from backend, and then churning that data and creating a effective segment was a task. And since this activity was happening too frequently, it was like more too impossible to do it manually. That was a challenge that we were facing. Next slide. Yeah. So we came across the feature called user affinity, which helped us actually to see how many people are active between this prime time of 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. First of all, that. Second is how many people who have actually placed most of their orders during the 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. time slot. That is the second segment that we got. And the third segment, which is not related to user affinity but user property, that like I've used a lot of automation platform in my career, but the best feature that MoEngage offered on as a user attribute is number of conversions, which comes as a onboarded feature, packed feature when you when you onboard MoEngage, and you don't have to do a lot of backend data. It is ready always to use, and that is how we could figure out that who are my non-shoppers and whose number of orders are equal to 0. So the night offer what we had and what we have as a first time order perk, we could combine that and reach out the non-shoppers separately. So there were three solutions that came up to reach out such users: people who have mostly used app between the prime time, people who have mostly placed the order during the prime time, and people who have actually not bought anything. And we could tell them that these are two club dot offer available for you only for 12 hours. It created the right kind of FOMO in minds of customer. So that is how we reached out as a night online sale. And whenever giving a particular cashback to people who are there, who were we could optimize their send time, and we could also club the first time order. So these were the notifications that were sent, and what it helped us is to achieve greater CTRs. And also we could see a good number of conversions during this time. And we also activated a lot of anonymous users, a lot of non-shoppers who were ideal on app, who were actually only browsing but never shopped with us. So it helped us doing all this. Yeah, next slide. And what we saw was about 100% increment in CTR, because it was a targeted communication to the users. Also, we could see 25% in increment in terms of sales. And that's what how we converted a challenge into opportunity by a simple feature of MoEngage as a user affinity and imbibed it into a marketing strategy. And we are leveraging quite often on that. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Ganesh. I think this was really insightful for us in terms of understanding how Big Bazaar leveraged the affinity segments. And as you rightly mentioned, that when you see that capability, you feel like, hey, this is so easy to use. But while you're doing it in the alternate way, it's so tedious. And I think that's where our efforts are, which is how can we make the lives of marketers easy so that they don't have to do the heavy lifting of taking the data from one place and then putting it onto the CRM platform and then keep on doing this heavy lifting on a day-to-day basis. So thanks a lot for those insights, Ganesh.
Thank you. Because MoEngage could help us with the predictive model. Actually, it helped us in a really really good way of bringing a lot of new traffic and good conversions. Thank you.
Good to hear, Ganesh. Next on, I would want to invite Amar, VP of Marketing at ExtraPay, to share the story on how ExtraPay is using some of these capabilities to kind of further down their engagement and pushing their matrix up. Amar, welcoming you.
Hi, Nalin. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, so everybody hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you, Amar.
Okay, cool. All right. So basically, thank you, Nalin, for the intro about affinity segment. And let me introduce myself. Right. My name is Amar Ibrahim. Well, people usually call me Amar. I'm the VP of Marketing of ExtraPay, and I'm heading 5 departments: branding and communication, performance marketing, partnership, operations, and also CRM. So more on our company, about our company, maybe. Next slide. So ExtraPay is a digital payment solution app from Astra Group. So basically, Astra Group is one of the biggest conglomerate and respected company in Indonesia. And AstraPay is also the fastest growing app in Indonesia nowadays, as we just established in 2020. And we just had a grand launch event yesterday, actually. And in less than 2 years, currently we have 2.3 million registered users. And AstraPay features makes it easy for customers to make digital transactions, from paying bills, loans, to Kris payment, which we also have already collaborate with more than 9 million merchants in Indonesia. So on to the next slide, please. So what and how? So basically, we have an opportunity, right? So cell phone credit pack recharges constitute a significant share of the transaction on the app. So therefore, delivering highly personalized and contextual upselling campaigns presented an immense growth of opportunity for AstraPay. Usually, if there's an opportunity, there are always a challenge, right? So to do this, we want to reach out to customers who predominantly recharge for low value package, less than 25,000 rupees. But again, limitation in our current segmentation methods mean that we had to rely on manual ways of doing it. Like for example, time consuming, right? Manual effort, low efficiency and accuracy, non-repeatable or scalable. So eventually, we got the solution from MoEngage. So this was MoEngage team reached out to us and asked us to become beta testers for their latest feature called Affinity Segment. So we evaluated the feature and set out to create affinity-based customer segments who predominantly recharge for less than 25,000 rupees packs in the last few months. We then reach these customers via push notifications at the right micro moment with offer-based promotion campaigns, urging them to do high-value recharge. And as you can see on the right side, that as a result of a high-level accuracy and relevance of targeting these customers via affinity segments, we witnessed a 2-time increase in conversion compared with similar type upsell campaigns in the past. And the ease with which we were able to achieve this, it was phenomenal. So on to the next slide about the key takeaways. So takeaway that I want to share with you this afternoon is with MoEngage Affinity segments, my team in AstraPay can have 1, more time to explore, which to create ideas, strategies, and planning. And 2, easier setup, which means, of course, no hustle, right? And number 3, more time to analyze and improvise the campaigns. And of course, we just need to repeat the process and keep creating new ideas, new campaigns, and increasing the conversion, also the GMV. So we are very fortunate to work and collaborate with MoEngage. We hope that we will go together and work side by side for better future for both parties. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks a lot,
Cheers.
Amar. I think that was really insightful, really crisp. I really liked how you kind of made it really simple to kind of consume for the audience. And I think the focus or the key takeaway is something that I myself really liked, which is that when the things are easy to do on a platform, it gives your marketing team a lot more time to kind of explore rather than just
Yes.
kind of being busy in the operational details. And I think that that's what we are also looking forward, which is that how can we improve the life of marketer while giving them productivity, as well as unlocking a lot of business potential, which probably cannot be done if it is not present on the platform or needs a heavy lifting. So
Exactly.
Thanks a lot for sharing those same thoughts as we had, and all the best, and have a great day.
Thank you, Nalin. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
So I would say that was really reinforcement of what we have been building, or the insight-led engagement that we want to lead the world with. And what we have seen today is these 3 stories. It reinforces our belief into that we are moving into the right direction. And we would also suggest every one of you to leverage more of these insights and make your engagement easier, understand, analyze, segment your users, and then engage them, which lead you to a more customer-centric experience. But if you think that we are done, no, we are not done yet. In the last MoEngage Next, we promised you something. We promised you that we are looking forward to create a new experience of MoEngage for you. And we have been continuously delivering in the last 3 to 6 months, month by month, week by week. And now what we promised you was a faster, easy to use, and a beautiful interface, so that you can save more time. You can trust on MoEngage platform more. So introducing to you this was Flow's 2.0 preview for each one of you. Flow is our communication workflow management tool, which most of you would already be using. With MoEngage workflows or flows, you can create a cross-channel communication for your end users, and not just for a single point communication, but for the whole communication journey. With Flows 2.0, this is a whole new creation experience that we are bringing in for you. New look and feel, so that you can identify, recall, relate better to what the stages are. For a large flow, we always wanted to bring in more feedback to the customers. So a quick error management is going to help you understand what are the pieces which are still missing before you go and hit that publish button. A new go-to stage, which is highly intuitive in nature, where you can clearly see that how and what are the connections it is going to be. You can highlight any go-to and traverse across the large flow to see where that connection is connecting. We know that creation of flow is something which is very, very delicate or very focused piece. And that's where we have removed all the distraction by, you can enter into a full screen mode, and you can also use a mini map for a easier navigation across the whole large flow that you have created. And on top of that, while we have added and packed so much into Flows 2.0, what we have also done is we have given it a booster. The Flows 2.0 will give you very high load times, very fast load times, and the refreshes are going to be super quick. Everything that you want to do faster, so then the Flows 2.0 is faster, better, and beautiful. And I think that's largely from my side today. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. Do we take questions now, Sunina?
Nalin, I think before we move on to the next session, we would like to watch the video again. There was some issue with the audio, I think.
Sure, I would do that again.
Can you change the audio optimization? Can I just check that?
Yeah, let me check that.
It's still the same, Nalin. Sorry.
Can I do that?
I hope it was better this time for everyone. Really sorry for this technical inconvenience.
Yes, Nalin, I think we can move forward to the next one.
Sure, I think over to you, Sunana, Nikita.
Yes. Nikita, would you like to continue? Nalin, I'll do the screen share, please.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Mr. Goyal. That was absolutely amazing. And the fact that you mentioned Beyonce as a singer that you listen to, I mean, the queen herself, we were sold when Mr. Sudhi, Mr. Ganesh, and Mr. Amar entered the segment. But with you mentioning Beyonce, doubly sold, absolutely amazing, Mr. Goyal. And ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't a technical issue. It's just that the video was so amazing. We had to replay it for you. Fantastic. What a delight to have you, Mr. Goyal. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you so very much.